Hey, this is Mad Movie Mark on Mad Movie Mark Movie Review. Thank you for joining me as I review the 1994 Hungarian drama Satantango.
Meg vagyok rendülve. Higgyék el, még bennem is csupa zűrzavar van. Teljes bennem a káosz, lelkemben a tanácstalanság. Mégis erőt kell vennem magamon.
There's no reason for that. I'm just reviewing every movie that has 100% fresh rating on Rotten Tomatoes. I'm giving them all a score of 1 to 10. After I watch them and score them all, I will rank them from worst to best. I started in the 1927 movie era, and now I'm at 1994 with Satantango. This movie has 100% fresh rating from the critics and a 92% fresh rating from the audience. And for some reason, Rotten Tomatoes lists this as a comedy drama, but there's nothing funny about this movie. At least I found no comedy in this movie, so I'm just going to call it a drama. This movie is 7.5 hours long, which is the longest movie I have ever seen in my life, and I really hope that that record does not get beat anytime soon, because I think after watching this movie, 7.5 hours is probably my ceiling. I don't think I can go any higher than that. This movie is about the inhabitants of a small village in Hungary that deal with the effects of the fall of communism. This movie is about loneliness. It's about indifference. It's a lot like the movies that I reviewed from the 1980s, such as Vagabond, Threads, or Grave of the Fireflies, where there's really no hope with these characters. Everything is bad, everything is sad, depressing, bleak. You never really see any hope for these characters. There's going to be no upward momentum here. There's going to be no excitement in these people's lives, basically. So this movie is famous for its long cuts. Now, in the beginning of the movie, when the movie first opens up, we are introduced to a group of cows for like 8 minutes, and that's all there is for 8 minutes. Now, I read that this movie depicts Hungarian life in the 1990s very well, and as you're watching the movie and you're seeing like these scenes of cows and you're seeing these these everyday scenes, it is a lot like Hungary was in the 90s. So I appreciate that. I also really like the really long cuts in these movies. There's only one exception where I did not like it, but so a lot of the scenes, it's either someone walking towards you or someone walking away from you. And I think the long cuts where you really see these people disappear into the background, you really feel like you're there. You really feel like you're watching someone walk away from you. And I really enjoyed that. There's a scene in the middle of the movie where there's a girl and she's walking towards you, and the background is out of focus, so you really just see her and an out of focus backdrop, which I thought was amazing too. The cinematography in this movie is fantastic. It's probably the best cinematography I've ever seen, because how many people can film something so mundane for like 8 minutes, 9 minutes, 10 minutes, and it's captivating. And a lot of these scenes that are long takes are absolutely captivating. I think that's because there's one scene in particular where these people are dancing to accordion music, and the girl that I just mentioned is looking into a window and looking at them dancing. And honestly, they're just dancing and they're drunk, and I believe they were drunk in real life, the director Bellatar decided to do this so that he could have a real reaction from these people and he could have them really out there dancing how they normally would do it. And it's amazing. And it goes on for like 10 minutes, I think. But this is the kind of everyday occurrence in life, the mundane in life, the that you wouldn't see in a movie because no one cares about it. But I love seeing it because I think it adds something to the movie. I think it's something that we haven't seen before, and I really appreciate that. And the scene in question is a fun scene until you realize that the girl outside is like basically freezing to death, and she's not going to be very well after this. But the scene itself, the way it's filmed through the window, the length of the cut. I thought it was absolutely amazing. I had a lot of fun with it. The only time where there was a long cut, actually, there's a couple, but the one that bothered me the most was there's these people in a bar, and this guy is randomly ranting and raving while he's drunk, and he's talking about like plotting and plotting and plotting over and over again, repetitive. He's telling the same story. The story is probably like just 30 seconds worth of actual story, and he just keeps retelling it in different ways with the same words and the same and it's like a 6 or 7 minute scene.
Miért, hogy, merre, miért, és hogyan baktatok, és baktatok, és baktatok, és hogyan baktatok? Hogyan baktatok? A lőpor, a hóhanamentes, a steigervár, a kistor.
Where you never see him, I don't think. He's just in the background talking while other people are on camera, and and I'm sure it's how a conversation like that would go, but it was so repetitive, and there's not enough material there for me to really be interested in it, and the length of this of him doing this was just so annoying to me. I couldn't deal with it. I couldn't do it. I think I might have fast forwarded until after he was done doing this. Besides that, there's also some scenes of just people's heads like looking either sideways or forward, and these can be like 4 minutes long also, which is unusual. I wasn't too into that. There's places where I think it's used very well and places where I don't think it's actually needed at all. This movie is also pretty famous for a female child who ends up like torturing a cat. And in the movie, not in real life, I don't know why. I read somewhere that the director had to come out and say that the cat actually wasn't harmed in the movie. I don't know why you would have to do that. Maybe people really were so into this movie that they thought that everything in it could actually be real. But she ends up poisoning a cat. She puts poison in its cat's milk. And then after the cat drinks the poison and dies, she ends up carrying the cat's dead body throughout the movie. Now, this is a girl who is lonely herself. She feels like she's outcast in society, which a lot of these people do. They feel like they were leftovers in society, and she, I believe, is treating her cat like this so that he can feel the same feelings that she is feeling. Now, I don't know why she ends up killing him in the end, but she does. And then actually later on in the movie, she also passes away. She also dies. After she dies, this guy gives a speech about how it was the town's fault. Everyone in town is at fault for this girl's death, and that he is going to start his own commune, and in this commune, it's going to be fantastic. All he needs is people to give him money. Red flag here. Like, I don't believe he actually built the commune. I will say, for me, an issue with this type of movie, an issue with a 7-hour movie, is that I'm so busy in my life with my child. We just got a new puppy, with my work, that I probably can watch maybe an hour a day of movie. And for this one, it literally took me like a whole week to finish this movie. And because some of these scenes are so long, like these scenes with the girl, she's not, I mean, she doesn't do that much in the movie besides like poison her cat and then get killed. But she's probably in the movie for like an hour and a half just because of how long these scenes are. Once she is out of the picture and we move on to like the next part of the story that might reference an earlier part of the story, I'm completely lost at this point. It's like I just watched an hour and a half of this and now I don't remember what's going on over here. So the plot line for me was a bit confusing. I honestly don't know if the plot like even matters that much. There's a bunch of people who come into some money, and there's some like arguments over when the money is going to exchange hands when, and then there's this charlatan who's trying to start the commune. There's this girl somewhere also in the movie. There's like a doctor who comes into play. I don't know. The plot was okay. The plot was confusing to me, but that's just because of the length of the movie and the length of these cuts and how since I had to watch it choppy, I couldn't remember one thing from the other. Besides that, the cat dying for me was an issue. I wasn't. I'm not a fan of animals dying in movies, and this was kind of egregious a little bit. Besides that, there's this really cool scene later on in the movie where these people are like breaking down I think it's like a dresser, and they're doing it like Office Space style where they're just out in the middle of the field breaking down this dresser with like hammers or ripping apart with their hands. All in all, this movie was good. Like I said, there's a scene later on in the movie where these three guys are walking down an alley, and the lighting effects in this movie is amazing, absolutely stunning. There's some scenes where these people are walking like towards the building where everything is dark except for like one light in the building, and there's the way they have light sources in this movie is absolutely spectacular, and that's also included in this alley scene where I thought the lighting was absolutely amazing. And this type of scene, you can fall into the problem where the scene is too dark and you can't see what's going on, but they did a fantastic job. Like I said, the cinematography is top notch. The cinematography, I think, wins this movie, and the story I don't think is as important. This movie is remembered for its long takes, for this girl, for the cat being tortured, essentially. And all in all, I thought the movie was good. I'm going to be honest. Some of these scenes, I know I like the long takes, but some of them, like, they just seem so long. They just seem so long, and I think a lot of it is the headshots. There's some scenes where it's just like a field for no reason, with nothing there. That's like 4 minutes. A lot of it was pretty painfully excruciating long. I don't understand. I mean, the camera work is great. The long takes is fine. I've never seen that in a movie before, except for maybe Stalker, but I didn't really like Stalker, so that's not a good example. I can't. If you're looking at a movie as an art form, then yes, this movie is very artistic. Every scene in this movie, every shot could be a piece of art. It is absolutely beautiful. And also, if you're looking at a movie as a form of art, obviously the long takes is can be considered a form of art. The cinematography is obviously a form of art. So this movie, if you love movies because you love it as an art form, then this movie is absolutely fantastic, and it's probably going to be one of your favorite movies of all time because of that. I personally don't understand, besides that, why this movie is considered to be like a perfect, fantastic movie that everyone loves. I thought it was good. I thought it was a good movie, but it's not very accessible to people. Someone like me who didn't go to film school, who doesn't have a background in this, who's just someone who likes to watch movies, this movie isn't for me. Really, to be honest, this isn't. If someone else is going to do this list where they try to watch all the 100% fresh movies, this is probably the movie that's going to stall them. It's probably the movie where they're going to stop and say, I don't want to watch this anymore because it's just so long, because it's just so boring, because I just can't get through it. I can see how a lot of people would say that. I can see how a lot of people would not be able to. I mean, maybe they don't even start this movie just because of how long it is. It's in black and white. It's foreign. That's 3 strikes to a lot of people. So it's not an accessible movie to a lot of people. And in that case, you know, for someone like me, it's not a great movie. I don't consider this a great movie. There are a lot of other movies I've seen for this list that I thought were a lot better. And even though there's a lot of things I like with this movie, a lot of it was excruciatingly slow. And I think that as I get older, I just don't have patience for slow movies, to be honest. I'm losing that patience to watch a slow burn movie. I used to be able to do it when I was younger, but now it's a lot harder. Anyway, I give this movie an 8.5 out of 10. I know that the comments, if anyone comments on this, it's probably going to be negative, telling me I didn't get the movie, telling me that I should just stop reviewing movies. That's fine. You're entitled to your opinion. But I have to be honest and say that I don't think it's great. I think it's good, but I don't think it's great. 8.5 out of 10. I hope you join me for my next review, which is going to be Before Sunrise, I believe. Thank you. I hope you have a great day.